I don't need car insurance. I'm a good driver. I'm not going to get in a wreck. If somebody crashes into me, that's their problem.
Hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Philip.
And we teach you what you need to know about your personal finances using words that you can understand without boring you to death.
Because adulting shouldn't suck. If you're new to our channel, hit that subscribe button and in the comments below, let us know what questions you have about car insurance.
Liability coverage, collision coverage, uninsured motorist coverage, medical payments, man, I just need car insurance.
Well, it's time to do grown-up things, and if you drive, getting car insurance is one of those things.
Getting car insurance sounds simple enough, but when you get into it, it can get pretty overwhelming.
Why do I even need car insurance? I'm a good driver. I'm not going to wreck. So, who's going to know if I get car insurance or not?
Well, nobody's going to know you don't have car insurance until you need it, whether you get in an accident or you get pulled over by the cops and you get a fat ticket for not having it. But some statistics are over 6 million people in the U.S. get in a car accident every single year. 3 million of those result in permanent injuries. On average, 90 people every day die from car accidents. Yeah, it's kind of morbid, right? But maybe you're one of the people that hit that other car, and if you kill them, you're going to really hope that you had car insurance rather than skipping out on that bill.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All drivers are required to have car insurance. Most states require you just to have general liability, which protects everybody else from your bad driving in case you get in an accident. But some states might require you to have some more coverage, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in this video.
All right, so before we even get started and get into this, let's talk about some common insurance terms and what they actually mean. So if you got an insurance policy, that's just a contract between you and the insurance company and how much they're going to cover. You've got the premiums, and that's basically how much money, it's a fancy way of saying how much money you agreed to pay for that coverage. And then there's liability, which is what Philip was talking about, and it just protects everybody else from damage that you might cause them or their property.
Insurance is a tool to help us manage that financial loss that we get with being in an accident. Insurance gives everybody a peace of mind knowing that their financial loss will be covered in the event of an accident.
Even a minor accident can add up to a ton of money. So you got to pay to fix your car. You got to pay to fix their car. What if you hurt them really bad? Now you got to pay their medical bills. That adds up quick. If they miss time off work, now you got to pay for that. You got to cover how much time they missed from work. You got to pay their paycheck, right? And then what if you were breaking the law and they sue you?
Yeah, snapping and driving, texting and driving, looking at that person walking down the street, or racing. You know, all the stuff we've all done as kids when we drove. I never did it. I was an angel.
Me neither, ever.
Bodily injury per person typically covers each person in the accident, minus yourself, for $15,000 in that accident. You can get more coverage, but you're going to have to pay more every single month for your premium to get that extra coverage.
So if you get in an accident and you hurt somebody, it's going to cost them probably at a minimum at least $1,500 to $2,000 to ride in an ambulance to the hospital, and that's if you're pretty close. So you can blow through that $15,000 real quick.
ER visits are super expensive. Bodily injury per person per accident covers all the peoples injured in the accident on minimum $30,000, and you can get more again, but you'd have to pay more for that extra coverage.
So let's be a little dark here, but let's say you hit a minivan full of kids, right? And they all have to go to the hospital because you suck at driving, and now you got to pay that bill. You're going to blow through $30,000 real quick.
Yep, because it's not going to be $15,000 per person when you hit your $30,000 max for your minimum coverage. Once you hit that, if you got 5 people in there, Joe doesn't get $15,000 and Sally doesn't get $15,000 and so on and so forth. Everybody in that van only gets $30,000 worth of coverage.
So if you go past that $30,000 mark, you're on the hook for the rest of it.
Yep. Property damage coverage covers the person's vehicle and let's say their property in case you run into a house or a fence or a mailbox or something like that. That coverage is going to be a minimum requirement of $5,000, and you can get more based on how much you want to pay.
So if you're just getting the bare minimums and you get a $5,000 property coverage, you better be driving like 3 car lengths behind those BMWs or Mercedes or fancy cars, because it's only going to cover $5,000 to fix that vehicle. And if you hit an expensive car, you're going to have to pay for all that after $5,000.
Oh, yeah. Uninsured motorist coverage covers you in case you're in an accident with somebody that's uninsured.
So let's say somebody else is bad at adulting and they don't pay for insurance because nobody knows, right? And then you get hit by that person. This one covers you, right? So it pays your medical bills and it pays to fix your vehicle, even though that other person sucked at adulting.
Again, not required in all states, but it might be, so make sure you ask your insurance agent if that's going to be required in your state or not for you to be able to drive legally. Lastly, personal injury protection. That's where if a passenger in your vehicle gets injured, your insurance will cover their medical payments.
So a great example of this one is I got T-boned going through an intersection and I walked away just fine. But my buddy who was riding passenger had to go to the hospital. He didn't want to go because he didn't have any medical insurance. But I was like, nah, man, I got injury protection. You're covered. Go get in that ambulance. Collision and comprehensive are some other types of insurance that aren't typically required by law. But if you've got a loan on your vehicle, the bank requires you to have that, because if you get in an accident, they want to make sure that their asset is protected.
Yep. Bank gives you money to buy a car. It's the bank's car until you pay that money back. And if you think you can get away without getting that coverage, the bank's going to check. You have to provide them your insurance policy number. And if you don't have that coverage, the bank's going to give you that coverage at a much, much higher rate.
It's gross.
Super gross.
Or if you own your car, or mommy and daddy bought you a nice car because you're lucky, then you want to make sure you have these too, because if you get in an accident, you still want to be able to get your car fixed.
Yeah, don't want to be out all that money. It's expensive to fix a car. I know. Mine just blew up.
Collision coverage is great because it doesn't matter whether you're at fault or not, your vehicle is going to get fixed.
Let's say it's raining outside, you're coming up to a stop sign, you're playing on your phone, and the car in front of you stopped, and you don't stop in time, and now you're in this car's trunk. Their car's going to get fixed, and so is yours. High five to collision coverage. Woo!
So comprehensive coverage is going to cover non-collision based events like theft, if your car gets broken into or your car gets stolen, or you get a chipped windshield, or you're driving down a country road and you plow into a deer and it destroys the front end of your car.
Damn Bambi. So there I was, 19 years old, living in an apartment complex with my 1992 Nissan 300ZX. Me and my buddy just spent all weekend putting a stereo in it with some subwoofers and upgraded the speakers. And then, lo and behold, it was broken into. Luckily, I had comprehensive coverage, and they paid about $4,000 to go get me a new system installed in my car. Whoop, whoop.
Dude, you spent $4,000 on a system?
Nah, dude, car insurance did. I only spent like $1,000.
My man.
Some other insurance options are going to be your underinsured motorist, your rental car coverage, your gap insurance, and roadside assistance. Underinsured motorist, that's kind of hard to say. Underinsured,
baby.
Underinsured motorist, that's going to cover to repair the rest of your vehicle's damages once the other insurance party's insurance is maxed out.
So let's say the other person that you got in an accident with that hit your car had that minimum $5,000 property damage, where you're going to blow through that real quick if you've got a nice car. So your underinsured policy is going to cover the rest of the price to fix your car, right? So if you got a BMW and you got like $25,000 in damage, they're going to cover that first $5,000, but thankfully you had that underinsured motorist coverage, and that's going to pick up the tab for the next $20,000.
Insurance win. Again. Gap insurance. Gap insurance is going to be used if you have a loan on your car from the bank. Let's say you get in an accident and your car is totaled, and your car valued at $15,000 when it wrecked, but you still owe $20,000 to the bank. The gap insurance is going to cover that $5,000 that he's supposed to be saying to make that difference up.
Yeah, no, that's probably one of the best things you can ever have it's only like $3 a month through your insurance company. But if you get suckered at the dealership, they're gonna have you pay like $600, $700, $800 up front for this. Don't ever do that. I had to use this when I got T-boned in my Volkswagen that was only worth 15 grand, but I owed $18,000 on it. So the insurance agency cut me a check for 15 grand, even though I still owed 18. But Gap Insurance cut me another check for that $3,000, so I was able to walk away from it not owing any money.
This is stuff that you need if you think that your car is not going to depreciate in value fast. The second you buy that car, it's already lost like $3,000 to $5,000 in value. So, food for thought.
Real story.
Word. Rental car coverage covers the rental car expenses to give you a car to drive around while your car's in the shop getting repaired.
Because if you don't have a car, how are you going to get to work? How are you going to get to school? What you going to do? Ride a bike? Take a bus?
Yeah. Now, on average, this coverage isn't going to be allowed to be purchased by you until you're 21. Might be different in your state, so make sure you check with your insurance person before you buy this coverage. Because if you can't use it, then there ain't no sense in paying for it.
So not everything is covered by insurance. There's actually a lot of things that aren't covered by insurance, like you intentionally damage your car, or you borrow somebody else's car without asking, also known as stealing, or you're driving a car on a regular basis, but you don't have it insured, or you have a car that you never got insured, but you think that it's covered under another car that is insured. Maybe you're carrying passengers for a fee, like you're an Uber or Lyft driver, but you don't have the special type of insurance to be able to do that. There's all kinds of things that aren't covered, like racing.
Word. Vroom vroom. Intentional damage. Insurance only covers unexpected losses.
So if you planned it out and you damage your vehicle on purpose, you're probably going to get caught, because insurance fraud is like the main form of fraud in the United States, and they hire all these private investigators to dig up dirt, and if you intentionally damage your car and they find out, they ain't paying you a dime. And because it was fraud, probably going to get slapped with a felony.
Yep. So don't go wrecking your car thinking that you're going to use that insurance money to buy a new one. And don't run into your boyfriend or girlfriend's car because you're mad at them.
Don't be crazy.
Not worth it.
So let's say you don't have owner's permission to drive the vehicle, right? Like, also known as you stole it. Maybe it's your parents' car or your roommate's car that you decided to take, and they didn't know about it. What happens when you get in an accident? Are they going to dime you out and say, yeah, you stole the car, and if you stole it, you're on the hook for all of it. There is zero insurance coverage on it, and you're liable for everything.
Yep. So don't be sneaking out of your house at midnight, going to go take mommy and daddy's car to go to your friend's party because you get in trouble. Your fault. You go to jail. Another one is regular use of a car. So let's say you always drive your parents' car or your boyfriend and girlfriend's car or your roommate's car, but you're not on their insurance policy and you wreck it. Not covered. So food for thought.
The next one is a car you own, but you don't have it insured. So if you have two cars, just because you have one of them insured, that insurance doesn't cover over to the other car. You have to pay for insurance on each car. Crazy.
Super crazy. So if you just bought that project car and you just got it up and running and you want to go take it out for a spin just to see if everything's working and you get in an accident while you're on that test drive, not covered, sucks for you. Lastly, racing. Cops have cameras. Intersections have cameras. And there's witnesses everywhere. All you need to do is be accused of racing right before an accident and you're not covered. So, yeah.
And even if you try to be responsible and you go to like the racetrack to go racing, you still better have insurance that specially covers that, because most of the time, you ain't gonna be covered.
Typically when you go to a racetrack, you have to sign a waiver saying that you're not, you're voiding your insurance. So, go to a racetrack, you ain't covered. If you're in an accident and it wasn't your fault, it's best to file a claim to get those damages repaired through the other person's insurance policy.
After you file a claim to get your vehicle fixed, you're going to have to pay what's called a deductible. And that's money you have to pay out before the insurance kicks in and pays the rest. So really what it comes down to is the higher the deductible, the less money you pay every month for your insurance. The lower the deductible, the more money you're going to pay for your insurance. What you have to find the balance is how much money are you willing to pay out before insurance kicks in. Let's say your deductible is $500 and you get in an accident and the damage is worth $700. Is it worth filing a claim and paying $500 just for the insurance to cover the other $200? Or do you pay the $700 out of your own pocket? Because as soon as you make a claim, your insurance is most likely going to go up depending on how much of your fault it was.
There's this one time that I was driving my really big truck that I used to have, and I accidentally drove into this girl's taillight that was in front of me because my truck was so big. I didn't see her in front of me. She was like literally under my hood. Anyways,
he drove over the top of a car.
That's also true, but not the story that I'm talking about right now.
Oh, that's a different?
Different.
Okay. Yep.
So, the lady wanted to do the insurance claim, and it was literally like a $30 light replacement. And I had asked her, and I was like, hey, look, lady, can I just order your light and install it myself instead of using insurance? And she was like, okay, fine, that's cool. And I just paid for it that way and did it myself. I accepted that it was totally my fault because it was. And I fixed the light and we didn't have to use insurance. And my insurance rate didn't go up. So, yeah, America for the win.
Did your insurance go up when you drove on top of a car?
It did. Accident forgiveness, though, made my insurance premium go up $6 a month. Totally worth it. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. And in the comments below, let us know what you liked about this video.
And don't forget to share with your friends.